Shalom family, welcome to Moving on Faith. I'm Anna Malave and today is Torah Tuesday. So the commandment that we're going to get into today is thou shalt not murder. Now this seems pretty clear cut and simple, and I feel like most people can or think or they assume that they understand this, and you probably do because it's not rocket science, right? But we're going to go a little deeper and hopefully you can pull some nuggets out of this that you might find useful. So we're going to first start with where the scripture is first found and the commandment is first found. Exodus 20 and 13. So in this chapter, Moshe has come down from the mountain with the commandments and he is reading them to the Israelites, okay, on Mount Sinai. So again, we're going to go to chapter 20 and verse 13. You shall not murder. Pretty simple, right? Let's see. Okay, so let's focus on the main word, which is murder, right? You should not murder. So the word here, murder, in Hebrew is, and I might not pronounce it correctly, but I'm working here, rasach. So that's Strong's H7523 that you can find that, and it's resh zadeh chet. So rosak. Okay. All right. So what the meaning of this word is, it means to slay, to kill, to break, and to dash into pieces. Okay. So the main characteristic being premeditative, intentional, and deliberate. So those are the characteristics of what it is to murder. So the action is definitely to kill, right? But the characteristic of that killing is intentional, it's premeditative, and it's deliberate. So let's quickly go to the next chapter over, Exodus 21. We're going to read verses 12 through 14 just to get some better understanding as to what it is that is, how is this murder or killing being intentional or deliberate. Verses 12 through 14. Whoever strikes a man so that he dies shall be put to death. But if he did not lie in wait for him, okay, so it's right there. If he did not plan to kill him, if he wasn't plotting and waiting for this man to come about so that he could try and kill him, but God let him fall into his hand. So Yah let this man fall into your hand, whether it was by accident or what have you. Then I will appoint for you a place to which he may flee. But if a man willfully attacks another to kill him by cunning, the word you want to focus here is by cunning. So it's premeditated, right? It's deliberate. You shall take him from my altar that he may die. So when it is premeditated, when it's deliberate, and when it's intentional, it then calls for death. Okay, because you murdered someone. If it was an accident and it's just something that happened, which happens all the time, right? Then it would be a killing, not a murder, because it was unintentional. It's something that happened. An example of this is, for example, like accidentally, hitting someone with your car, right? You may have not had any intention to hurt that person. They just may have run out in the street at the time or was behind your car and you didn't see. The bottom line is you might have killed this person, but it was unintentional. It wasn't deliberate, and it wasn't premeditated. Okay, so let's really quick go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 19. And we're going to read from 1 through 13. We're going to read the most part of this chapter because I do feel like it's going to give you context that is going to give us a better understanding. Okay. Chapter 19, verse 1. When Yehovah your Elohim cuts off the nations whose land Yehovah your Elohim is giving you, and you dispossess them and dwell in their cities and in their houses, you shall set apart 3 cities for yourselves in the land that Yehovah your Elohim is giving you to possess. And you shall measure the distances and divide into 3 parts the area of the land that Yehovah your Elohim gives you as a possession, so that any manslayer can flee to them. So if you're unfamiliar with what's going on here, as I mentioned before in chapter 21, If it was an accident that you killed this person, they have what is called like these refugee cities where you can go and bid your time there, almost like a jail, but just a city, right? And so it's a safe place because you didn't mean to kill that person, but you still have to be essentially punished, right? Verse 4, this is the provision for the manslayer. So now these are the details that come with that. Who by fleeing there may save his life. If anyone kills his neighbor unintentionally without having hated him in the past, as when someone goes into the forest with his neighbor to cut wood, and his hand swings the axe to cut down a tree, and the head slips from the handle and strikes his neighbor so that he dies. So they're giving you an example as to how you could accidentally kill someone. Okay, you're swinging an axe, the axe head comes off, flies off. You didn't mean to do it, right? Totally freak accident, but he killed someone. And strikes his neighbor so that he dies. He may flee to one of these cities and live. So if it was an accident, you can go to one of these refugee cities and you can live. Lest the avenger of blood, now the avenger of blood is usually a kinsperson or like a family member of the person who passed away, who has every right and intention to want to avenge the death of their family member. Okay, so that's also their right to do that. The avenger of blood in hot anger pursue the manslayer and overtake him, because the way is long, and strike him fatally, though the man did not deserve to die, since he had not hated his neighbor in the past. Therefore I command you, you shall set apart 3 cities, and if Yahweh your Elohim enlarges your territory, as he has sworn to your fathers, and gives you all the land that he promised to give you to your fathers, provided you are careful to keep all this commandment, which I command you today, by loving Yahweh your Elohim, and by walking ever in his ways, then you shall add 3 other cities to these 3, lest innocent blood be shed in your land, that Yahweh your Elohim is giving you for an inheritance, and so the guilt of bloodshed be upon you. Now this is the part where you really want to pay attention to, because this is going to talk about the intentional murder. Verse 11. But if anyone hates his neighbor and lies in wait for him and attacks him and strikes him fatally so that he dies, and he flees into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and take him from there and hand him over to the avenger of blood so that he may die. Your eye shall not pity him, but you shall purge the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, so that it may be well with you. Okay, so these cities of refuge, they are not for people who are murderers, for people who intentionally killed. If you go there and you are a murderer, the elders of that city have to put you out and have to deliver you into the hands of the kinsman avenger, right? The avenger of blood, that family member who can now avenge their deceased family member's death. Okay, so it's giving you a very clear and distinct difference between killing and murder. So there are 2 different things. We're commanded not to murder. Okay, and with that being said, the person who commits a killing or an accidental killing, that person receives mercy and grace, and that is given to them because it was an accident, right? But it is important to know that mercy and grace is not given to those who murder. Okay, with that being said, don't murder. All right, I hope you learned something from today, and I hope you enjoyed this segment. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for your support. Shalom.